We are going to start with the breaking news out of New York City. What we know at this hour is this. A man with a gun entered an office building in Midtown Manhattan earlier this evening. Once inside, he did open fire. NBC News is reporting that one police officer has been killed in this attack, and at least four civilians are dead as well. The Park Avenue building where the shooting took place has offices for several major companies, including the headquarters of the investment firm Blackstone. Police released this photo of the man they believe to be the gunman entering the building carrying what appears to be an assault-style rifle. MSNBC is now reporting that the man's name is Shane Devin Tamura, T-A-M-U-R-A, 27 years old. Police say the man appears to have died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. But again, we are also able to report that 5 others appear to have been killed in this incident, including one police officer. Now, the New York Police Department is referring to this suspect as a lone shooter. They are also saying that the scene is now contained. But this is a quickly developing story, and we are learning more with each passing minute. Joining us now is MSNBC investigative correspondent Mark Santia. Mark, I know that this story is developing rapidly. First of all, can you correct if I said anything that's either wrong or now out of date in terms of our latest reporting?
No, Rachel, you're spot on. I mean, there's always, at a time like this, there's always fluid information kind of back and forth. And sort of police are locking everything down right now. They're also going through video right now, Rachel. You mentioned the suspect, the gunman who police say took his own life inside that building, Shane Devin Tamura. We're hearing he is from Las Vegas, Nevada. Multiple sources tell us there is a vehicle in the area with Nevada plates. So, Rachel, what they're trying to do now is to determine if Shane came in that vehicle, in that Nevada vehicle, if there's any connection there. So there's a lot of motion. There's a lot happening on the ground there right now as detectives sort of try to figure out. One law enforcement source told me, look, the scene is locked down. It's done. We don't have the why. So right now they're trying to figure out the motive right now. This all happened earlier this evening in the heart of Midtown. So Park and 52nd, it's an extremely busy area, especially that time and the afternoon rush. We are told the gunman walked into the building and opened fire. He shot the police officer, the officer who was working a paid detail. So, Rachel, the officer was in full uniform in the lobby. He shot the officer in the lobby. Then we're also told he shot a civilian on the 31st floor before he took his own life on the 33rd floor. We're expecting a press conference from the NYPD and the New York City mayor around 10 o'clock this evening there on the scene. We're still waiting, but again, there is a lot. You see as a very, very heavy police presence in this area. Rachel, there's always a heavy police presence in the middle of Midtown right there. But obviously, everyone went running to that area. That photo you saw of the suspect, that was disseminated to police officers across the area. They were told to be on the lookout for that person who went into the building with a long gun and then opened fire. We are, again, told that this, according to the NYPD police commissioner, Jessica Tisch, she said the scene is contained and the lone shooter is neutralized. Rachel, initially there was some question. Did this person work alone? Were there others? We now know that NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch says this was a lone shooter who, again, police sources say took his own life on the 33rd floor of that building. Several companies, including BlackRock, housed in that building. And we are told that that person with that long gun seen right there in that photo in his right hand opened fire, shooting the police officer in the lobby, and then shooting a civilian on the 31st floor. We're hearing he shot at least 4 people. We're told critically injured at this point. We're told he shot at least 4 people in that building before taking his own life. Rachel?
Mark, in terms of, as you say, we don't know the motive here. We don't know more about the shooter than we're able to confirm in terms of name and where he's apparently from. But in terms of that building, we've been reporting, we've been discussing the fact that BlackRock is based there. That's a very prominent, high-profile investment firm. But there's a number of other entities in that building. It's not a single, Blackstone. It's a number of other entities that are in that building. It's not just Blackstone there. Do we know anything about the 31st floor, the 33rd floor, the other sites at which the shooter shot at civilians, or indeed the floor in which he took his own life, and what entities are based on those floors of that building?
No, we're working through that right now, Rachel. That's a very good question. There are several companies housed there, including a very large real estate company that is housed in that building. So we're trying to work that down. Is there any significance about those floors? Was he a former employee? That right now, everything's being looked at by the NYPD detectives, and it's all hands on deck right now for detectives. Several were called in. They're all working this case. They're working this case with several different groups of detectives who specialize in sort of different facets of the investigation. So right now, they're trying to see if this suspect, Shane Tamura from Nevada, if he has any connection, Rachel, to any of those companies in that building. And so that is what's being looked at right now. Is there a possible motive? And is there a connection to those companies or to that specific company? Again, the civilian was shot on the 31st floor. Is there a connection there? And that's what detectives are trying to look at right now. I am being told by law enforcement sources they're reviewing surveillance video. Rachel, you know Midtown. There are a lot of surveillance cameras there in the Midtown area as well as that building, and many of them sort of have a working relationship with the NYPD. They'll share those surveillance videos. They get pumped in to the Joint Operation Command at One Police Plaza. So a lot of those videos are readily accessible, and that's what they're looking at right now. Some of those videos, just to try to determine, again, Rachel, the why. Police are telling us this scene is contained, this scene is over, but right now they want to know what motivated this person. Again, it tracks back that he has a Las Vegas address. We are told that there is a vehicle in the area with a Las Vegas, with a Nevada license plate, rather, with a Nevada plate that they're looking at right now. They're trying to see if that is connected. And that's right now, Rachel, that's where the investigation is. Again, at least 4 people shot. They're critically injured. We are told 1 police officer shot. We're told the officer has passed away. The officer is dead. And the gunman has taken his own life inside that building on the 33rd floor. But right now, Rachel, the question is, why?
Yeah. Mark Santia, thank you. I know you're going to be on this story throughout the evening. We expect we'll have you back as news develops. MSNBC investigative correspondent Mark Santia, thank you for that. I know we'll be talking with you again. I should mention that we are expecting a press conference at 10 p.m. These things tend to shift around in terms of the timing for a story that is developing the way that this one is. But as of right now, 10 p.m. Eastern, we are expecting a press conference from the authorities who are investigating this matter.